Welcome to part 42 of Neil Donaldson's Lotus Excel restoration. Now that I've completed the job of putting the safety bar in and stripped the back end and prepared everything, cleaned it up a bit. So I'm going to actually start now on doing the headlining of the car. So that means basically I've bought the material, I've stripped it all out. It needs, I need to make patterns and templates and sew pieces together and all this kind of work just to prepare the headlining, to do a reasonably professional job on it. I've never touched a sewing machine in my life, so well, I guess we'll have to see how we get on with that before I start. But anyway, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all those who offer encouraging comments, and feedback's always greatly appreciated. Always, appreciate it. Obviously, if you click the like button, and anybody who's not done so already, then please subscribe as well. That also helps greatly. But as I say, this is a job that most Lotus Excel owners will have to do at some point, or have done. And as I say, I don't know what to expect with it. I don't know how good it's going to look when I finish, but I'll do my best, and let's see where it takes me. So the piece of fabric for the back headlining has to be 110 centimeters wide and 50 centimeters deep. So that's what I'll do. I'll go and cut a piece of fabric now and try and stick that in place, I think. The piece of fabric is it's about 150 centimeters wide, so that's not an issue. So I guess I'll measure it out and cut 110 by 50 centimeters off it. So I've measured it out. I just need to cut along the far edge of the duct tape, the masking tape there. I gave myself a bit more tolerance on this side. It's 53 rather than 50 centimeters. So I guess I need to get the width pretty much, width across the car, pretty much right now. So alright, I'll cut a bit off the end there and then measure it there, because I might be able to use the bit on the end for something else, but we'll see. So that's the piece for the back headlining cut out now, so I guess I could have a go at sticking it in the car. Now I'm not sure how to go about this. I'm going to do it all at once or a bit at a time using this high temperature contact adhesive. So I'm going to apply some of it first. Just say, not sure which is the best way to go about this, but I guess trial and error a little bit, but let's see. It seems to stick quite well, so I think I'll go with that. Basically just doing it a bit at a time. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. Yeah, I think I'll let that sit for a bit before I start trying to make any adjustments here. Cutting, or trimming bits of edge off there. But it seems to have gone quite well. I'm quite pleased with the results so far. I've measured out the front bit of headlining. I sort of gave it 53 centimeters in the front to back, and about 112 left to right. I'll proceed now to stick this bit in place as well. Yeah, I'm just doing a couple of inches at a time and sticking it, running the glue all the way across the width of the car. The front and back pieces are in. I was a little bit careless on that side. I perhaps should have left a little bit more edge, but I'd imagine the trim should cover that basically, and you won't see anything there. I'm concentrating now on the carpet covering the rear parcel shelf, so I'm going to stick some foam in first as it was. What I'll do is I'll measure it the full width and stick these two middle pieces in first before attempting to cut out the edge pieces to fit around those slightly elevated glass fibre bits at each side. So I'll measure it from the full width. 102 centimeters, but these two rivets here are exactly in the middle. Yeah, so I'll stick them sort of these bits of foam on either side of that, and basically center it there in the middle. I've trimmed the edges a bit there now, and all it's a question of is cutting the piece of carpet down to size and sticking it on there. I'm trying to trim the back carpet. I've cut a piece out of the carpet for the parcel shelf and sort of trimming it slowly into position. Yeah, it's a bit more challenging than I thought, but I'm getting there slowly. I'm almost there, but not quite. The idea is to get it underneath the rear windscreen where I can't see the edge of the carpet. As you can see there, I can just see the edge of the carpet there, so that's not good enough. So I need to trim a good couple of, maybe sort of trim a centimetre off on each side there, so that I can't see that bit there. So let me try that and see if I can get there's enough play at the front end. Yeah, I've got, well, I'll say there's enough play. I've got maybe about a centimetre there, so I better be careful here not to cut too much off. It's not quite perfect on this side, but yeah, I think I can live with that. I'm not going to trim too much more. Yeah, even there it's not exactly perfect, but I think I can live with that. And I don't want to trim more off because I'm starting to get to the edge of the carpet. And so I've removed the lights from the centre of the car, pretty much, yeah. And obviously there's quite a bit of corrosion here. But how it works is obviously you've got these two contact points here on the right hand side. There and there. I'm not sure which is which. Obviously one of them switches on only when switches on permanently, and the other one only when the doors open. So, and how the switch works is it's there's 2 contact points on each side, and it's sort of, yeah, it creates a connection between the two. I think in the middle there it's off, completely off. That's in its situation now. And then obviously if I move it to one side, it touches the contact points there, and the other side on there. And as you can see, there's this bit here is corroded and snapped, so I'll have to see if I can fix that somehow. Yeah, I think the other bits there should clean up well enough to provide enough of a contact to get it to work again. So let me try and do that. Let me try and sort that out now, see what I can do regarding that. I cut a piece of a small piece of metal and shaped it there to act as a bit of an electrical connection. Don't know how well it'll work. I thought I had a filament that I could test that with, but unfortunately the spare ones I've got, they're a bit too short and they don't fit in place. I'll have to put this aside then and do it later, approach this at a later date when I buy some bulbs and see if it's some filaments and see if it'll work. But it should work. I mean, as I say, I've cleaned it up a little bit. There's still a bit of rust on it some places, but yeah, I'll come back to that later anyway. I'll get on with the templates. Now, I've removed a bit of fabric from those pieces here, and I'm going to use them as templates. Yeah, that's the centre bit there, and this bit down here is one of the side bits. And as you can see, it's kind of split into 2 halves and sewn in the middle. So I'm going to use that to create a couple of templates. I've also bought a sewing machine to help me complete some of these jobs, and yesterday I've been practicing how to use it, and now I'm pretty comfortable that I can do basic simple stuff with it, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Now, because I've only got one template here, because the other side was completely destroyed, I basically just flipped it over, and I'm going to measure it from the opposite side to create a template for the other side as well. It should be the mirror image of the other side there, which I've already marked out. So I'm going to mark this one out too at the same time. Now, I'm no expert at this, but I guess I don't have to be too accurate about cutting this piece out. However, I need to be accurate about where I mark the seam there. So I need to get that bit right for sure. So I've marked out the smaller pieces there, and you can see also I've marked out the seam, the bit where the seam's supposed to go there. It's about a 110 degrees angle in there, but I'll just double check that against the plastic bit. First I'll just sew a bit of an edge. Just cut that. So I've just measured out the other seam, and I'm busy. Yeah, I need to trim the inside of it, but that looks as if it should actually work. Yeah, quite pleased with that. It fits around there. But I'll trim the inside edges first, as I say. Then it's a question of sort of gluing pieces in to stick it around. That's the next stage. I'll just cut away the edge of the seam there so it fits kind of nicer into place. And I guess I'll start by gluing in that corner first, and then sort of working my way around and sort of slowly gluing in and trimming the pieces around the edge. But I think I'm going to do this tomorrow. Yeah, before yesterday I'd never even touched a sewing machine in my life, so I've made a fairly good start. I'm quite pleased with the progress so far. It bodes well for the rest of the interior project. I'm going to have to make good use of that sewing machine, I think. I'm just concentrating on the other side, the top panel there. One thing I have learned is to cut your seams, measure them on both sides exactly the same sort of width for your seams, and that way it's much easier to tack when you're putting these things together. It really helps. So I'm going to try and tack that together and sew it. I didn't do quite as good a job with this one as I did with the last one. I had 2 goes at it as well. I didn't quite stitch far enough on that end, but can I live with that? Certainly I can. And it's a question now of tacking everything in place and yeah, and gluing everything down. Just trying to think, did I make that long enough? I think I'm just about going to get away with that, but yeah. But all right, let's tack. I'll glue this seam in place first, and then take it from there. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this well enough, but I'm going to apply glue first along the seam.
So that just about concludes that. It's pretty much ready to go on the car. Just let it dry a little bit and then I'll remove those clips. So both of those two are done. I'll concentrate now on the centre bit. So this is the centre bit now, and the first thing I want to do is repair this fixing, the whole fixing here. I damaged them myself when I was pulling this off. I didn't realise that I could have easily taken the light out and just unscrewed it from there. So I need to fix them to attach two more bolts, two more rivets onto there to fix the end of it. So what I'll do is I'll get the angle grinder on that first and just file it down a bit. So I've ground it down and I'm just going to mix a bit of fiberglass, what do you call it, hardener. Yeah, so I've applied a bit of fiberglass and the resin and hardener on each side. I'll let that dry a bit and sand it down. But in the meantime, I think there's this metal strip here. I'll put some paint on there just to stop it from rusting as well. The centre section there is just about dried with the fiberglass fix I've made there in the middle, so I'll give that a little bit of paint and I'll rivet the metal fixing in as well. That's the centre bit. I didn't bother filming that. It was fairly easy. There was no sewing or anything to do. It's literally just cutting out a piece of material from the template and gluing it on and trimming it off is the way I approach it. But I'm going to turn my attention now to the slightly more complex front bit. Yeah, it seems like it's fitted with two pieces of fabric, which is seamed in there. The middle section looks like one bit of fabric, and then of course on the other side it's the same on that side where it's sort of seamed in there, and that again looks like a single bit of fabric. It's held on in the window door seals, it's held on by two pieces. These are missing here, but one there and one there, and the same on the other side. So that's obviously something I'm going to have to take care of when I put it back together. But as I say, I'll strip it. First I'll strip the light bit off here. Again, it's probably better if I put the camera down to do that. And then I'll start removing the material which I'll use as a pattern. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to tackle these. Yeah, whether I should wait till they get a new bit of leather before attempting them. Though the leather here looks alright, so if I can actually remove that without damaging it, I may attempt to sew it clean up that bit of leather and sew it on there. That mirror obviously has seen better days, but yeah, I won't worry about that too much now. But obviously I'd like to replace the fabric here and make it consistent with the rest of it. Let me get on with that now then. So to remove the centre light, it's you sort of stick a screwdriver in that, and it's held in by this sort of clip on this side. So when you stick a screwdriver in the side of it, it just pulls out. It's a bit of a wrestle, but it will come out. A couple of things to note here with this assembly is I thought it was one sort of rod that fits all the way through the sun visors here, but it's actually two different pieces here, and they sort of stretch out, and there's they've put in metal bits they've riveted then into the side. You don't need to touch them. I'll just clean that up a bit, I think. Yeah, it's the same on the inside here. Yeah, there. So I'll just remove the other sun visor there, and yeah, I'll have to remove the remains of these rivets as well. I think that's going to be slightly tricky to get that back in when it comes to, yeah, there's going to have to be a set way of doing that. I think I'm going to have to stick the underside of it in before I rivet them, and then sort of, yeah, that's going to be a little bit tricky, I have to be honest, but we'll see what we can do. I'm just cutting out a pattern for the front section now, and you can see I've marked out the seams on each side, so I'll cut that out now. So one of the things I want to concentrate now is getting these sun screens, if you like, whatever. I'm going to try and recover these. Obviously they've got a different style of covering. So I guess the first thing to do is to remove the mirror, actually. Yeah, so the mirror's off. Bit of glue left on there, but I thought the leather was split, but it doesn't seem to be too bad, but that'll come off anyway. And then I need to, this looks like it's been hand stitched along the edge here, so I'm going to have to basically remove that stitch for stitch. So I've unpicked that stitch for stitch, and we're going to remove this now. Let's have a look. What's going on there? So there's a stitch or two that needs to be. Oh, it's come off now. Another mirror in there. That's interesting. Don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I guess it's there anyway. Kind of weird. Right, so that needs to be cleared up a bit. There's obviously a bit of rust along there, so I'll file that down, I think, and maybe try and put a bit of paint on that. But even this, I've got to unpick it stitch for stitch. I'll just trim the edges off now with the scissors. That's what the finished piece looks like. Now I'm concentrating on gluing the front section in there, which I've just made up now. So I'll start in the middle, I think, and then work my way slowly outwards with the glue. It is just about starting to take shape now. I think I'll let that sit for a short while to let the glue set a bit before I continue a little bit further. We're slowly getting there. I think the next bit, before I stick these side bits on here, is I'm going to make 4 of these brackets that the sort of 90-degree brackets that are riveted in there, and they kind of fit under the door seal when it's set in place. I'm going to attempt to make these obviously now by... Yeah, I'm going to make some new ones because the other ones are a bit rusty, so I'm going to cut a couple of brackets off there. I'm going to be a little careful about how I fit those though, because not make a mistake here, they need to be angled down. So that so that's kind of going to fold over there, and they're going to be angled down, the brackets. That's it, and they sort of slot under the window seal. Let me do that now. I've finally finished trimming that piece, and it looks pretty good. The only thing now I've got to do is obviously cut a few holes for the lights, which I think go in there. and the sun visors in each side. I've got to make some small holes there. Yeah, but other than that, I'm pretty pleased with the results so far. These little bits here are quite awkward to get in. I've got to sort of bend the material back to get access to the rivet gun. Yeah, so I'll just complete the sun visors. I've got to sew the edges on those, but they have to hand stitch them. And then put them components back on this, and we can start thinking about hanging it in the car. It's pretty much complete. Yeah, the sun visors could have been better. There's a couple of marks on them, for example there and there, but other than that it's pretty good, I have to say. I can live with that for now. I think with the sun visors I might do that at a later date. Let me put that in the car now anyway. I've still got to do the A-posts and fit the lights here, but other than that, it's pretty complete. Yeah, here I've got to, hopefully the B-pillars will keep that a bit more in place than it is now. But I have to say, I am absolutely delighted with the results. Yeah, time-consuming job, but in the end it's very rewarding, I have to say, to get it done. So that probably concludes this video, I think. Yeah, I'll put the A-pillars and I'll just do it. It won't be too difficult, I think, to do that. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you took some enjoyment out of this video and look forward to the next one.